Hello there. Thanks for tuning into the Advanced Risk Analysis. It's worth going back to look at the 70th Anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone, pretty much this British Grand Prix Part 2. So what happened there, all the news, if you read over the internet and even on YouTube, so you'll see that everything is about Mercedes, Red Bull making Mercedes look silly, because Verstappen won and they really didn't have any answer for him. They did make him look silly, not because they didn't have an answer for him, but because, in my opinion, they favored Lewis Hamilton. Let's look at the race. Why they could have won with Valtteri Bottas, and then I look at why they chose not to do that. In the middle stand, Valtteri Bottas' middle stand was shorter, so when he came down to the second tire change, he did less laps in the middle stance than Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton went about, I think, 10 laps longer, and then he had fresher tires in the end. The team could have done that with Valtteri Bottas. Normally, whoever is leading gets the preferential strategy, but in this case, I guess the team opted, and usually the preferential strategy is pitting first. But Valtteri Bottas probably realized that, okay, he got it, but he probably didn't realize that. He realized that, okay, he probably thought maybe that's a preferential strategy because they're pitting him first. But he didn't realize that the optional strategy was going 10 laps longer. If he knew that that was the optional, the second strategy, he would have wanted that one instead, even though they didn't get to choose, but the team should have made that decision for them, giving whoever's leading the best strategy, the preferential strategy. So maybe he thought when they pitted him, maybe Lewis would have been in maybe a lap or 2 or 3 later, and that's it, and then that's it. By going about 10 laps longer, that makes a huge difference. So if he knew, he probably would have won that strategy, and the team should have chosen that strategy for him. So he could have won because if he had that strategy, he was closer to Max Verstappen. Oh, okay, so there's squirrels all over the place, and they think I'm about to feed them. They're following me around, and they think I'm about to feed them. See that squirrel? But I'm not going to feed them. So when you go to a park, don't feed the squirrels, because now I have this problem. So they all think I'm about to feed them, and they're really coming really close. Because Valtteri Bottas was closer to Max Verstappen, if he had that strategy and he knew that he could go longer and then in the end try to catch up to Max Verstappen, he would have tried to go faster, because when he pitted, on his second set, he had to make the tires last longer. But if he knew that he could go longer on the middle stand, then have fresher tires at the end, he would try to stay closer and do whatever he can to stay as close as he can. But the team opted to give that to Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton had to come back from farther back. Once he finally pitted, he had to come back from farther back and actually pass Valtteri Bottas, and then actually had to pass Charles Leclerc first, and then pass Valtteri Bottas, and then try to get to Max Verstappen. So that's a long way. So, but had it been Valtteri Bottas with that strategy, maybe he would just have to pass Lewis Hamilton, and he would have had to pass Charles Leclerc. But either way, he would have been a little closer to Max Verstappen than Lewis Hamilton. I'm not saying not as close as he was, but just a little slightly closer, because he was further in the race than Lewis Hamilton. The team chose to have Lewis Hamilton be the one to catch Max Verstappen. So why did they do that? Why would they? Because it wasn't an official mission, but the team was trying to see if they could go nil. They could go pretty much do a complete shutout of the season, a shutdown of the season, not have any other team. Oh, look at this squirrel. He's pretty close, but I have nothing for you. Sorry, buddy. I'm here just to shoot my videos. Whoa, the thing is coming close. All right, okay. This thing is really close to me. I mean, it's like every time I seem to move, like they get away. When I sit still, then they crawl closer to me. Then when I move, every time I move, I turn around, then they scatter away. But yeah, see how close it's coming? You see that? Okay, anyways. All right. Anyways, all right. Anyways, so the team decided that Lewis Hamilton should be the one to chase down Max Verstappen because simple as that, because of I would say history and experience. So first of all, the way Max Verstappen was fired up to get the win, because even when the team told him to back down a little bit, he said that he said this is our chance to try to get a win, so I'm not going to back down and I'm going to push. So he was fired. He was fired up to get the win. Given as fired up as he was, I think Mercedes didn't feel that Valtteri Bottas would have been able to pass him for a win. And they can be backed up by that slightly from in last year's Italian Grand Prix. So last year's Italian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton was second was second behind Charles LeClerc. So towards the end, he tried to pass him, he couldn't, but Valtteri Bottas came down with fresher tires. He caught up to them quickly. Lewis Hamilton was putting a lot more pressure on Charles Leclerc with older tires. I assume maybe the team told him, or he realized that, okay, I'm slower, so I need to let Bottas get a shot because he caught up to me quickly. So maybe the team told him to let Bottas pass. But once Bottas was past Lewis Hamilton, he could not pass Charles Leclerc. And he was not putting the same pressure on Leclerc as Lewis Hamilton was doing with older tires. And I'm sure the team took note of that. They took very good note of that. They looked at it and said, okay, Lewis has older tires, much older tires, but he's almost passing Leclerc. I'm sure the team took note of that and decided in this race, in the 70th Anniversary Grand Prix, they said that even if Valtteri Bottas was giving that longer middle stint, in the end had fresher tires, he might come quickly and pass Lewis Hamilton. But once he caught up to Max Verstappen, I think they didn't have the confidence that he would be able to make the move to pass Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen would do everything to stay ahead. He was not going to give up this lead, and he was not going to give up the win because he felt that maybe that might be the only chance they have during this season to get a win. So he was not going to give up that win. So I'm sure the team sensed that, and they figured, all right, if we're going to go for this win, we're going to do it with our number one gun, our top gun, our primary weapon, and that was Lewis Hamilton. So I think that's why the team decided to change the strategy. It did cost them the win because I think they could have won with Valtteri Bottas, and with good fresh tires, maybe Valtteri Bottas should have given the chance to try to pass Max Verstappen. So pretty much, unless Valtteri Bottas is winning, Lewis Hamilton will be finishing ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So this pretty much is an example of the team favoring Lewis Hamilton. They're not going to say that, okay, let Lewis Hamilton pass, but they will do it with strategy, and it's kind of done subliminally. So unless you're a keen F1 watcher, F1 follower, you're not going to follow, you're not going to catch it. But the team literally pretty much with this race says that if we're going to lose, we're going to lose with Lewis Hamilton. So pretty much this is what's happening. And the team is favoring Lewis Hamilton. And they have their reasons, because if Lewis Hamilton wins the championship, he's going to have 7 championships. I mean, that's nothing to laugh at. That's nothing, that will give you, I mean, instead of getting Valtteri Bottas 1 championship, Lewis Hamilton getting 7 championships, it's, I mean, they're running in F1 for marketing. So having a driver with 7 championships is a lot bigger marketing than having a driver with 1 championship. It's the marketing boost is a lot bigger. So that's the way they're looking at it. They do want him to get that 7th championship. All right, so thanks for watching, and let me know in your comments what you think. So in essence, the team is favoring Lewis Hamilton, and that was the proof of it.